Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. Today, we're diving into a very interesting topic. It's less about the spreadsheets and more about what's in between our ears, our brains. So we're talking about the psychology of alternative investments. So because let's face it, sometimes we're not just buying art, REITs, or collector cars, like I would wish I had money to. We're buying feelings, status, and maybe even a good story at a cocktail party, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's an interesting stat to kick us off. According to an article that came out in July of 2025 by Landsberg Bennett, the global alternative investment market is projected to reach $29 trillion.
Trillion.
Up from $7 trillion from 2014. The rising interest in alternative investments is driven not just by financial returns, but also social trends and personal enjoyment and the sense of exclusivity.
We talk about that.
Everybody wants to feel exclusive
and
special. So this leads us to the most obvious question. Why do people flock to alternative investments in the first place?
Well, I think that's a great question to start this conversation off, right?
Yeah.
Why? The whys. So stocks and bonds are like broccoli. Ugh. Actually, I really like broccoli. I mean, if it's prepared right, but I'm thinking like steamed plain broccoli.
Yeah, okay.
It's good for you.
Right.
Reliable, kind of boring. Okay. So, investors actually crave diversification, but also control. So alternatives are those spicy tacos, the craft cocktails, the double shot of espressos of the financial world, if you will. Okay. Yeah. They're the fun stuff. So owning a fraction of a high rise or a rare whiskey barrel feels tangible compared to that ticker symbol that we watch at the bottom of a TV screen when you're watching the news and stuff. You're like,
right.
Just boring, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly. You are so right. And from art to crypto, litigation finance, stay tuned for that one, or, tune into that one. And to fine wine, right? All topics, all of them we've talked about.
Yes, we have.
Tune in. Catch up.
Listen. Go back and listen to those.
Exactly. But alternatives trigger that deep psychological craving for uniqueness. And as you already mentioned, control. It's not just solely about making money anymore, which of course, that's why you invest in the first place, but it's also about the story. No one brags to their friends about their index fund. Well, maybe you do, but
only if you're a finance bro. But
yeah. Certain crowds will be into it. Other crowds, not so much.
Okay, so thanks. Bye.
Exactly. But you can guarantee that if you have a stake in a vintage Burgundy vineyard, well, then you're probably spilling the wine in this case.
Okay, well, go ahead and pour me a glass, please. I'll take. Well, maybe even two. So now something we need to remember is that psychology isn't always rational. We know this, right? So let's talk cognitive basis is here, or biases, not bases, biases. There we go.
The basis for cognitive bias. How about
Perfect. That? Fixed it for me right there. So up first we have our old frenemy, FOMO.
It's a plague that comes for us all.
I know. I never really suffered from it.
No?
Maybe every once in a while.
Okay.
Every once in a while, but I like my alone time. So I'm like, go. I'm not, there's no fear of missing out over here. So an alternative investments thrive on exclusivity, like you said. Hedge funds with minimums the size of a house, down payment, question mark. Private equity deals that you had to know a guy.
Right, sure.
Well, I can hook you up with my guy, but
Yeah.
The scarcity hits our brains like a Vegas slot machine. You're like, wait, you had to know a guy? Well, I want to know the guy. So they're rare, they're risky, but they're so alluring.
This sounds like the guy that, you want to date because he's not into you and he's kind of like a bad boy. And that just kind of makes you want
And every
more.
single time he doesn't pay attention to you, you're like, I love him.
Yeah, exactly.
So the psychology here is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
So the rarer the opportunity feels, the more our brains scream, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Jump on that bandwagon.
Exactly. So even if the rational part of you is quietly whispering, maybe maybe you should read the fine print first. Excuse me, miss.
You know, you and your fine print, but you have a good point. You got a good point there.
Yeah.
Something else to take into consideration is that alternative investments aren't just financial, they are emotional. Some people are thrill seekers, wired to chase the adrenaline of uncertainty. You might be looking for those high-risk investments, high risk, high reward.
Yep.
Speaking of Vegas.
There we go. Give it to me. Give it. What is it?
Big money.
Big money, no whammies. There you go.
Yeah.
That's how much do I go to Vegas.
There you go. You're doing great. For others, it's identity driven, right? Are you investing in green energy startups?
Yeah.
That's not just ROI, right? That's values alignment. Are you buying a piece of a sports team? Well, that's passion, right? Especially if it's a sport team that you like.
Yeah.
It is psychology 101. Money is never just money. It is actually meaning, especially since if you think about it, right? You work so hard to get this thing that then you need to spend to survive. And so you have a personal attachment to it because you've spent your time, your effort, your energy, your blood, sweat, and tears into this paper currency, or sometimes, most of the time, not even paper. It just goes straight to your bank account. Numbers on a screen.
Numbers on a screen.
Right? And so you want to use it where
agree.
you feel good.
I agree.
And alternatives let us wear our portfolios like fashion statements.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fashion statements, that kind of segues us right into the next part. So we're talking about emotional, but let's not forget about the generational split, because the emotion and the psychology between generations is quite different.
Sure.
So we've got the baby boomers who they're perfectly peaceful, fine, just chilling with their rental real estate and their private credit deals, right? They're just like, there they are, my little passive income. I'm just gonna sit here and sip my pina colada.
Ooh. Can I have one?
Yeah, I know. Right now I want one. Well, then you've got millennials and Gen Xers or Gen Z. And they're out there buying fractions of Patek Philippe. Love that. Love his watches. You've got NFTs of pixelated cats. You're talking about they're talking about democratizing like it's a religion. Skibbity toilet. Am I right?
I still don't know what skibbity toilet means. I've tried.
In all fairness, I did Google it before when I was researching this, because I was trying to sound like I knew. But
you want to fit in with the cool kids.
Yeah. But that's all I got. Skibbity toilet, and then it was a bunch of memes.
Yeah.
Hey, which also you can probably buy stock in. So there is meme stock, right?
All right. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So different generations, but again, the psychology is the same. There's the status, the stories, and of course, a sprinkle in those little sweet, sweet returns right on top. You want those bad boys.
It's the cherry on top for sure. Well, it's always important for us to look at the flip side, which there always is one.
Yep.
Understanding psychology can make you a better investor, specifically with alternatives. You may encounter some of these biases but you've done your research, and now you can better avoid them, right?
'Cause you know they're out there.
Yes, and if you know about yourself and what you're drawn to, and maybe where your pitfalls are, you can maybe make smarter decisions.
Don't open up those late night apps that are shopping and put a lot of stuff into your cart just because it's inexpensive, and next thing you know.
Yeah, don't come home after a happy hour and go on Amazon. These are rules that we have for, certain reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the following can happen though when investors invest only with their emotions.
Okay. Tell me.
Overconfidence.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
Yeah. Just because you've seen every Marvel movie, does not mean that your vintage comic book fund is going to beat the market, or you could beat up the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's leave the superhero fighting to the superheroes.
That are, remember, not real, guys, not real.
Really?
I know.
Dang it. And then we also have herd mentality.
This happens.
Yes. So you could be falling down a rabbit hole on NFTs where everyone is singing their praises. I made this much money. This is great. Yeah, well, that's not investment research, right? That's a little bit of peer pressure with slightly better graphics sprinkled in there.
If you're on some kind of site and it's like, this is the best, and you're like, keep scrolling, you're like, okay, wait a second, what's really going on here?
Right. Not to mention, you don't know what's true and what's not.
No.
Could just be someone who's trying to advertise their NFT.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention is illiquidity bias. So locking up money for 7 years makes us think that it's magically safer or more lucrative, or you would hope, right?
Yeah.
You say, well, I put this money away for 10 years. It must.
And I've never touched it.
Yes, it must be worth 5 times as much. Well, spoiler alert, that's not always the case.
Nope, unfortunately. So basically what you're telling me over here is that it's extremely easy for an investor's ego to make all the important investing decisions, and that we need to kibosh the ego. And another emotion that can raise hell, if you will, is the pride. Okay, pride gets in the way. So according to an article in the CEO magazine, pride often leads investors to overestimate their ability or become emotionally attached to past successes.
Sure.
It's happened a bunch of times. It's going to happen again, right?
Yep.
No, that's luck. And it doesn't happen all the time.
Yep.
So this attachment can result in investors not wanting to really look at the market conditions or even think about reassessing their investment strategy. They're like, nope, I got this on lock. We're good. Nothing's gonna change. I don't even care. I don't even care that
I'm just gonna do the same thing again.
Yep.
It's gonna work out for
I
me.
buy these REITs and I don't care that I bought it in the middle of a hurricane. It's gonna be perfectly fine.
Or Hurricane Aaron comes through.
Yeah, exactly. You're the last one. Their pride actually forces them to hold on to unprofitable investments for way too long, like that bad boyfriend that you mentioned, or the bad boy. And It just keeps, it's the one that everyone's telling you to get rid of.
Yeah.
He doesn't like you. He's not that into you.
He's not very nice to you
either. He keeps ignoring you, so stop. So their willingness to admit that they made a mistake can harm them financially. Go ahead and insert the Joe Exotic clip right here. I'll never financially recover from this.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's that pride.
For sure. And we're looking at sunken cost fallacy, right?
Right.
You put all this time, money, effort into it. Sometimes you should just walk away. That's the right choice. But because you've put all this effort into it,
how could I possibly be wrong?
You can't do it. You can't let it go.
I'm not wrong. I could never be wrong.
Yeah, I wish that was true for me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is the key takeaway here? The psychology of alternative investing is like a cocktail of rational diversification, emotional attachment, and human bias. We are not just hunting returns. We are hunting for meaning, identity, and maybe just a really cool story to tell our friends when we're out at the next dinner party and get some kudos and some, congratulations.
Check out this cool thing I got. That's awesome. Yeah. So alternative investing isn't just about the assets. It's about attitudes over here.
Yeah.
So our psychology shapes how we see risk, reward, and even our identity. So next time you're tempted to buy a shiny new fund, maybe pause. You may want to ask yourself, are the numbers talking, or is this my emotional gut trying to get it out for me again?
Great question. Yeah. And that's a hard question to determine. So good luck to our listeners out there.
Deep dive inside yourself.
Yes. This is what your therapist is for. Therapist and financial advisor. Who knew they had so much in common?
I know. And everyone needs both.
They do need both. Yes. And we want to encourage our listeners, as always, to do their research before investing, right? And tune in next time for another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. We'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the Alternative Investments Chat. See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.